My husband 30M is mad at me 28F for signing our son, 2 meters, up for daycare. We are enrolling our son into daycare for next year. Open enrollment for our second choice daycare opens next week. Our first choice daycare doesn't open until the end of next month. I want to go ahead and put his registration in for our second choice just to save that spot for our son in case there is no room in our first choice. My husband is annoyed at me because he doesn't think our first choice daycare will fill up and doesn't want to waste the $200 enrollment fee for enrolling our son into the second choice daycare. He believes we will just be throwing the money away. I told him I will be angry for listening to him and not doing it, then not being able to get our son into either daycares because they are full. He sighed and said, "Fine, do whatever you want." I don't want to argue about it. We aren't strapped for cash, so I'm not sure where this is coming from. From that conversation I can tell he is just drained and over it. Do I try to bring this back up with my husband or just go ahead and enroll our son for both daycares like my initial plan? You're being reasonable. It's extremely important to find a good daycare for your child, and put in all of your eggs in one basket with your first choice would be foolish. Don't bring it up again. He already said fine, do whatever you want. He doesn't want to argue. Deep down he knows you are right. He was just thrown off by the cost of it. But he conceded to you. That was the end of the discussion. Let it ride. Let it go. Bringing it up will do nobody any good. I'd do the same thing as you. You are being smart about it. Having your son in a daycare is more important than arguing about $200. And it is worth paying extra for the peace of mind. It would be really stupid to not reserve the spot and then end up with no spot at all. Go ahead and enroll him in both programs. This equates to taking out a childcare insurance policy, especially if you don't have any good options if both programs fill up. Your husband is being penny wise and pound foolish, but you don't have to tell him that, or even raise the subject again unless he wants to talk about it. He already said to go ahead and do what you want, so just go ahead and do it. Good luck. I hope you can get your boy into your first choice place. BTW, if you have local friends with preschool kids, let them know that you double book to be safe. One of them may be able to take your reserved spot in Plan B if your kid gets into Plan A, and reimburse you for your deposit. You could even advertise the extra space if you have a neighbor FB or next door group. Once you get your son enrolled in your first choice daycare. As a mother of 2 that has played the daycare game, you are playing it smart. I would just go ahead with your plan as is. Honestly, my son didn't understand how hard getting into daycare was until we had a huge fight about it and told him fine, he gets to handle it now since I'm doing it wrong. It took him 2 days of trying before he admitted defeat and apologized. I don't have a kid but think you're being reasonable. I suspect he's doubting that you're right and doesn't want to admit it. My sister is signing up for daycare now for 2026 because spots fill up that fast. It's ridiculous in some places, and with limited options and expensive fees you can find yourself stuck. He probably doesn't realize how serious it is to be on the ball for daycare or get screwed. And if your kid can't get into daycare, whose fault is that, and who will be responsible for the kid and be unable to work? Wouldn't that be you? So if things mostly fall onto your plate, it's not really fair for him to dismiss your concerns and being proactive. Is he staying home if the doesn't get into your first choice? I have multiple friends who had to put their kids in a list for daycare before they were born. That's how difficult it is to find a spot where I live. Some people are even signing up babies for a list for first grade in private school. My understanding is it is very hard to get toddlers, worse for infants, into popular daycares. Better to spend the $200 and have options than not and be screwed to the point you have to settle for a place you normally would have not considered. Follow your original plan. You will be the one looking for daycare if both options are full. If you are going back to work, it will be much more expensive to delay going back to work a couple months because you didn't have a backup plan, than to pay an extra registration fee. But I agree with others to not bring it up again. You made your case. He agreed and said he didn't want to fight about it. You got what you wanted from the interaction. You are being reasonable. It's best to be sure your son has a spot somewhere. The only thing your husband should have to say to you is thanks for handling such an important, stressful arrangement for your family. Your husband doesn't know what he's talking about. He should sit this one out. Your husband is severely underestimating just how quickly daycares fill up. It's definitely a good call to try and secure spots in multiple daycares. It took my sil almost a year to find a daycare for her son. She applied to get him a spot in 6 different centers before the 7th finally had an opening. Preschool teacher here. You did the right thing. Competition for preschools and daycares are tough. I see families do what you did all the time. My school doesn't have open enrollment, but we do have a 200+ family waitlist right now. Ask your husband if it would be more wasteful to double enroll and possibly lose $200 or wait, and the first choice is full. Now you have to find something else. That probably won't be a great fit. Or hire a full-time babysitter. We all know which option is worse. I did the same thing with our second choice preschool to ensure we had a spot. The peace of mind is worth the money.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.